Is this game over when it comes to Casper? Personally, for me, I'm not giving up. But even though some people may be thinking, whoa, are you crazy, all this type of stuff? Let me explain exactly what happened when it comes to Casper and why a lot of people, as of right now, are beginning to kind of feel agitated and just a lot of people just completely giving up when it comes to Casper, because it's been reported that when it comes to Casper Labs, they rebranded to something called Prove AI, and then they're now moving on to Hedera. And here's the thing. This, of course, made a lot of people angry because, of course, Casper Labs, they had these grandeurs of promises, all this type of stuff that, hey, we're going to be, utilizing the Casper network, all this type of stuff. But then suddenly it's like, bam, yeah, nah, bye, Felicia. You know what I mean? Now, of course, that's not ideal news. But here's the thing. I think sometimes people don't understand that when it comes to Casper Labs, they are for profit. They're looking to make money, right? So when it comes to them, initially their goal was to quite essentially have, these solutions for enterprises, but then at the same time utilize Casper, the Casper network as a foundation, so to speak, to allow for that.
And then also, right, some people are saying, oh, wow, does that mean the Casper network moved to Hedera, all this type of stuff? No, that's not true. Again, the Casper network is still what it is, basically. But when it comes to Casper Labs, which is a totally separate entity, by the way, that's the one that rebranded to Prove AI, and then now they're quite essentially moving on to Hedera. Again, the Casper network is still what it is. It's not like the CSPR token is randomly going to go on Hedera. That's actually not the case whatsoever. Sometimes people get that confused. Again, right, Casper Labs, they're for profit. They're looking to make gains, so to speak. So when it comes to them, they did what they did. But when it comes to the Casper network, it's still what it is. It just has a little bit of a different direction now because it's quite essentially under new guidance, right? It's not under, Casper Labs quite essentially anymore in a sense. That's the way I take a look at it. And also, if anything, I believe that Casper Labs was just a bad match, in my opinion, for the Casper network overall, because they were putting their interests first, in my opinion, right? They're not really putting the interest of the Casper network quite essentially first, because again, Casper Labs is for profit, but I can't blame them. But here's the thing. I do believe that Casper is now under better direction moving forward because, again, the Casper Association, which I'm going to get into more a little bit later, by the way, they are a nonprofit, and quite essentially, they're going to be the ones that are spearheading Casper moving forward. Now, is Casper necessarily going to be like enterprise optimized? I still believe it is because the fundamentals are amazing, but it's not going to be necessarily its focus moving forward, at least from what I understand. But in my opinion, of course, it would have been better if Casper Labs just kind of moved on a long time ago anyways. That way, people wouldn't be shocked. But again, it was a mishandling of the situation. But I think the Casper network still, fundamentals are not bad, right? It's still lightning fast. It's still very scalable. So I don't think it's bad at all. Now, granted, is it a little bit late in the game? They changed this? Yes. But again, I think it's in a better direction anyways. This is breaking up with a partner and then moving on. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Is it ideal? It's probably going to suck in the beginning, but then in my opinion, moving forward, it's probably going to be better because if it's not compatible, then why even do it? You know what I mean, right? So when it comes to something like Casper Labs, they moved on, rebranded to Prove AI, moved on to Hedera quite essentially. Okay. The Casper network is still what it is. I still believe in its future though, because I still think it's better than the majority of other layer 1 blockchains out there. So yeah, people can say what they want to say. Personally for me, people can do what they want to do, right? But I'm still going to hold because, I'm down anyways. You know what I mean? I might as well just stake and still get the rewards, And I still hold other projects again, but, it is what it is. I'm still bullish on Casper though. But yeah, when people like to say, yeah, Casper's done, or the Casper network again migrated to Hedera. Well, no, again, that's not the case. It's just Casper Labs. Again, they're totally different when it comes to Casper network. They do have these intentions to utilize the Casper network for, enterprise adoption, quite essentially to create solutions. But you know what? They want to move on. Okay.
Now, of course, I think that given some time, they realized that, hey, when it comes to, being focused on enterprise adoption, it's not that easy, right? Because typically enterprises, to get into the inner circle, so to speak, in order to, really get your product chosen, typically you need to know some people in there, right? And then to gain connections, what do they have to do? They quite essentially have to be close to them. Now, that is why I think they moved to Hedera, personally, in my opinion, because you take a look at, for instance, Hedera has a fantastic governing council. Let me just say a couple of its members. You take a look at, for instance, Google. I mean, that's massive. You also take a look at IBM. Now, I think that right there is primarily the biggest reason why they went there, because, of course, Prove AI, all that type of stuff. But even besides that point, it also includes LG, Ubisoft, Dell Technologies, and, of course, many others. So from a business standpoint of view, I understand why they did that. But in terms of like morally speaking, right, it kind of, made a lot of people mad. And I don't think it's right, to be honest. Now, here's the thing. I think sometimes people don't understand, though, that when it comes to Casper Labs, it's different than the Casper Association. Because if you take a look at Casper Labs, again, they're looking to make money. They're looking for profit. But when it comes to the Casper Association, they are non-profit. So it's different right there. Now, Casper Labs, did they owe any real obligation to, build on the Casper network? If you actually think about it, in a literal sense, they didn't. But of course, morally, they should have. Because if you kind of, name yourself Casper Labs and then you have all these promises, all this type of stuff, allegedly, of course, then it would be kind of weird, right, to suddenly change and pivot. But again, I understand it from a business decision. Now, what's the future when it comes to Casper as of right now? I think it's going to be through the Casper Association, which quite essentially, as of right now, is going to be the major, thing that's going to be leading Casper moving forward. And I don't think it's a bad thing, though.
Allegedly, right? When it comes to the treasury that's held by Casper Labs, a large majority of, again, is allegedly going to be transferred over to the Casper Association. So it's not like they're just taken off, quite essentially, with, just a bunch of CSPR and being like, oh yeah, bye, we're going to leave, all this type of stuff. Well, they did move on, but then again, a lot of their treasury is going to be, transferred over to the Casper Association. So it's not the end all be all. And I like the new direction anyways. Casper Labs, whatever, they're gone. Who cares?
Because if you take a look at it, who is the new CTO when it comes to the Casper Association? It's someone by the name of Michael Stewart. Now, if we take a look at it, Michael Stewart, he has a very impressive, resume. And also on top of that, you take a look at how he has more experience when it comes to this space overall. I mean, for instance, you take a look at how when it comes to Michael Stewart, right, he is the CTO at Make, and they created, by the way, CSPR Live. If you know that, of course, everyone knows that if you want to stay Casper, all this type of stuff. But yeah, even besides that point, this is how amazing he is. And I think he's the right person moving forward. Now, I felt like when it comes to all of this, it should have just been Michael Stewart to begin with. Because if you take a look at it, Michael Stewart, right, he is the co-founder of Casper Labs, but he allegedly left and then now he's back, so to speak, in all of this. But I think the moment when he left, right, what happened? When it comes to Casper Labs, I think when it comes to Mernal, everyone keeps saying that, oh yeah, he needs to get a haircut, all this type of stuff. Well, here's the thing. I cut my own hair. He could have asked Lee, the captain. But even besides that point, you also take a look at someone like Meta Parlica, right? They were kind of like the two biggest figures in Casper Labs. Now, quite essentially, when you take a look at, for instance, Meta Parlica, allegedly on her LinkedIn, she's been out of Casper Labs ever since June, allegedly again. Who knows? Because sometimes people, they have errors in the LinkedIn or they don't update it. Who knows, right? But that was kind of a red flag that I just noticed, by the way. Also on top of that, you take a look at, for instance, something like Mernal, right? More specifically, again, he made a business decision, in my opinion, but at the same time, it's like, what can we do about it? You know what I mean? It's like nothing at the end of the day. I mean, of course, we can vet out on X or whatever, but at the end of the day, there's really nothing we can do. Now, moving forward, what do I think is there to look for when it comes to Casper? Quite essentially, under the guidance of the Casper Association, again, a nonprofit, under Michael Stewart, quite essentially. I think better days are ahead, because if you take a look at it, for instance, I'm very, enthusiastic when it comes to Casper 2.0, aka Condor, because through that, basically Casper is just going to become a lot better, allegedly. And also, when it comes to the new vision moving forward, it seems like they're going to be shifting away from enterprise adoption, which I don't really blame them for that, because again, clearly, right, they tried to do enterprise adoption when it comes to Casper Labs through Casper, clearly didn't really work out. They had to move on, whatever. The past is the past. What can we do about it? Now, granted, I felt like, again, they should have done this sooner, because if the goal was to focus on the retail market to begin with, why go through all the charades, right? Why go through all of this, releasing updates, talking about, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that, only to just have this happen in the end? So it's just kind of weird, in my opinion. Very bizarre. Why not just say it straight up? You know what I mean? And it's not like they just recently knew about it. I mean, when people make decisions like this, it's not out on a whim. It typically takes some time. So why not do it like months ago, for instance, if they could have done that? That's just my point of view. And here's the thing. When it comes to all of this, why am I still not giving up when it comes to Casper? Because as the old saying goes, during a fully fledged bull run, FOMO pretty much defeats everything. Now, some people may think, okay, when it comes to Casper, it has no future, all of this type of stuff. What makes you think there's going to be FOMO? people in the world of cryptocurrencies, they generally speaking, they want to look for hypothetical gains. And now with that being said, am I telling everyone, hey, you have to hold your Casper, all this type of stuff? No. If people want to sell it, it's up to them. It has no relation to me, right? I'm just one person holding Casper. I mean, there's a bunch of other holders. So it's like, yeah, okay, so what? You know what I mean? But here's the thing. I'm not going to sell my Casper, though. I'm staking it. I'm getting rewards. So I could care less about this type of stuff, to be honest. And here's the thing. My X account, right? A lot of people were messaging me saying, oh, wow, Casper is now only going to go to the price of 25 cents, 50 cents, all this type of stuff. But here's the thing. Because Casper, as of right now, is so low in price, just going to the price of 25 cents is literally over a 25x from here. I can name 4 projects out of the bat that I know for a fact are not going to do over a 25x from here during this bull run from right now. For instance, BNB, I don't think it's going to do that. Solana, I don't think it's going to do over a 25x. Ethereum, nah, I don't think so. When it comes to Bitcoin, I don't think it's going to do over a 25x during this bull run. I'm not talking about the long term, but I'm just saying, during this bull run. So if you think about it, Casper is so low in price to the point that going to the price of 25 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents is already absolutely fantastic. And again, I'm not telling anyone to hold their Casper. They don't have to marry, their bags, quite essentially, as the old saying goes, right? They don't have to do that. But in my opinion, I just want to wait and see. Because here's the thing, around 6 months from right now, a year from right now, people very well, the new, Casper people, right? The new investors, they could very well forget about this. And here's the thing, Casper, they're not giving up. They're still building. So when it comes to Casper, fundamentally speaking, as a layer 1 blockchain, what bad thing happened to it? All that happened was that Casper Labs didn't want to believe in it anymore, quite essentially, or should I say they did believe in it, but they just moved on to Hedera for business reasons probably. Because of that, does that automatically mean that Casper is a bad layer 1 blockchain? No, I disagree. I think better days are ahead. And here's the thing. Some people are like, wow, Prove AI, it's going to be so massive for Hedera. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to the price of HBAR, it's not doing all that great as of right now. And keep in mind, I'm very bullish on HBAR. But even besides that, I have to say it how it is. I don't think Prove AI is going to be this next big thing when it comes to Hedera. No, I really do believe that people are overreacting in a sense, because in my opinion, I don't think that Prove AI is going to be this monster of a project for Hedera and then it's just going to absolutely make HBAR skyrocket. No, I don't think so. There's many projects on Hedera, right? When it comes to this, okay, they don't want to choose Casper, so what? All right. It's like, what can we do about it? You know what I mean? And even if, let's say, they chose Casper to begin with, it's not like Casper is suddenly going to become like a top 5 project suddenly, right? No, maybe the price would have went to like 1.5 cents, maybe nearly 2 cents, who knows? But I don't think it's going to make Casper just automatically go to the price of 10 cents or whatever suddenly. It takes time. The FOMO has to be there, the buying pressure, the sentiment when it comes to the crypto space overall has to be there. So again, I didn't really think that this is the end-all be-all when it comes to Casper. And again, a project only disappears when they stop building, when they stop thriving. So when it comes to Casper, again, I like their new focus. I like their new shift because I love the new leadership. And also on top of that, we'll just wait and see. That's it. It's just a waiting game. I'm not going to exit my Casper positions. I made it this far. I'm not going to give up. Now, granted, is Casper the only thing I hold? No, of course, I hold a bunch of other projects. But even besides that point, I'm a big believer in when it comes to Casper. A lot of my viewers, they love Casper, right? So of course, this does matter to me as well, even though, again, I'm also bullish on other projects. But again, Casper, it's a very amazing project. I don't think it's going to do bad. And here's the thing. Casper is not the only thing that's doing not great in my portfolio, right? You take a look at Veracity, you take a look at Myria, you take a look at some other meme coins. So it's not like Casper is the only one that's tanking. The whole crypto space overall, as of right now, the sentiment isn't the best. Yeah, sure, some meme coins are pumping. Like, for instance, I made good calls on Turbo. I made good calls on Casper. I'm not talking about Casper. I'm talking about Casper again, where the last letter is A. But even besides that point, when it comes to my holdings, when it comes to Casper, for instance, I still think there's better days ahead. I do believe that when it comes to Casper, man, because it's so low in price to the point that just going to the price of 2 cents, 3 cents, it could very well shift the sentiment very easily. So that's why I'm still staying patient when it comes to Casper. But again, I have to say it how it is. It's not ideal news. It's not great news. Casper Labs, again, they made a business decision. It's like Cam Newton. Do you remember when he was a part of the Carolina Panthers versus the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl, and he didn't want to jump in when the ball was a fumble? Do you remember that? And everyone was like, oh, yeah, he made a business decision because he didn't want to get injured, all this type of stuff. I think that's kind of what Casper Labs did. But again, hey, it is what it is. I'm still going to believe in Casper because I think that the new direction, if anything, is better. I think it's in better leadership. but I'm still going to believe in Casper anyways, and I still think that better days are ahead. Of course, I'm going to still update when it comes to Casper because I still believe in it, and we'll wait and see, right? 6 months from right now, a year from right now, we'll see. Of course, along the way, I'll be making updates. And by the way, if you want to get a prioritized response from me in the comments, feel free to become a channel member if you want to. Also, you can use these like cool stickers and badges when you comment, so I think that's pretty awesome. Also, on top of that, make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.